All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're breaking down a story about a single video. A video so impossible, so completely unbelievable, that it literally brought the entire world to a halt. This isn't just about something going viral. This is about a recording that seemed to break all the rules of reality itself.
And this is where it all kicks off. A video just appears online, and pretty soon you're seeing headlines like this one from the BBC everywhere. The footage seems to show comic book legends from 1965 reacting to movies from our time. It was so raw, so convincing, it asked a question that nobody had an answer for.
And the world was absolutely hooked. In just 6 months, the video pulls in an insane 4 billion views. I mean, think about that. That's almost half of every single person on Earth watching, arguing about, and just being mystified by this one clip. It wasn't just a video anymore. It was a global phenomenon.
The reaction was just huge, and it was instant. You had mainstream news like CNN totally stumped. Joe Rogan dedicated an entire special to it. You have a world-renowned physicist, Dr. Michio Kaku, saying it could literally rewrite science. And then it gets so serious that the FBI and the CIA launch actual investigations. This was way past being a meme. This was a full-blown crisis of reality.
And here's where the mystery really does off the rails. Every single expert who got their hands on this video, from top labs at MIT to the FBI's own forensics unit, they all came back with the same mind-blowing conclusion. The video is real. No CGI, no deepfakes, no digital trickery whatsoever. If it was a fake, it was made with tech that we won't have for another 50 years.
Okay, so here's the million-dollar question, right? If it wasn't a fake, then what on earth was it? How could a video this impossible even exist? Well, to answer that, we need to rewind. We have to go back to the very beginning, to a wild meeting between two very, very different worlds.
You see, the story doesn't actually start with a video. It starts with two, let's just say, very unique individuals, whose paths were about to cross in a way that would quite literally bend the fabric of time.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah.
Assalamualaikum, El.
Waalaikumsalam. Kau ni siapa?
Okay, so on one side, you've got Syed Elias Akhtar. He's this 22-year-old quantum physics prodigy, already got PhDs, the whole deal. But his real dream? To see the world united in wonder. And then, on the other side, you have Siri Sempaka Nazira. She's an ancient princess from a parallel dimension with the power to literally shift between realities. Yeah, science meets myth. Now you might be wondering, what exactly are the Bunyan? Well, in Malay folklore, they're basically these supernatural beings. Think of it like a whole civilization living right next to us, just vibrating on a different frequency so we can't see them. And Naz, our princess, she can control that frequency, which lets her become visible in our world. This ability, it is absolutely key to this whole story.
So you've got this unique partnership. Elias's genius brain and Naz's supernatural power. They start experimenting. And well, one of those experiments goes really, really wrong, and it sends them on a completely unplanned, chaotic trip through the dimensions.
Here's what happens. They jump into this place called the Chronos Dimension, a really dangerous realm where moving north literally means you're going into the past. But while they're there, bam, they get ambushed by these demonic beings. Their only escape is to do an emergency, totally blind jump, a leap of faith that throws them through reality and lands them on one very specific date, July 15th, 1965.
And you are not going to believe where they landed. Of all the backyards, in all the towns, in all the world, they literally fall out of the sky and land right in the middle of a barbecue being hosted by a 42-year-old guy named Stan Lee. Yeah, that's Stan Lee, the man who was about to build an entire universe.
So after, a very weird introduction and proving they're actually from the future, Elias gets this incredible idea. He realizes this whole accident, it's an opportunity, a once-in-a-universe chance to give something back to the very creators who basically invented modern mythology.
And with Stan Lee's help, they put together this just unbelievable group of people. Of course, you have Stan, but then there's Bill Finger, the tragically uncredited co-creator of Batman. You have Schuster and Siegel, the two guys who sold Superman for pocket change, and Elizabeth Marston, who is carrying the torch for Wonder Woman. These were absolute giants, and honestly, a lot of them were really struggling at the time.
And what does he show them? Elias just opens up his laptop, a laptop from the future, and he plays them clips from the movies we all know and love today. The MCU, the DC films. He's showing these creators from the 1960s the absolute global phenomenon their work was about to become.
And the reactions were just overwhelming. Bill Finger, a man who fought his entire life for just a little credit, he sees this visceral, perfect version of his Dark Knight on the screen and just explodes with emotion. For him, it was decades of denied validation all hitting him at once.
And for Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel, it was just as powerful. I mean, these are the two men who created the world's most famous hero and faced so much hardship. And now, they're watching him fly. They're seeing their boy, their Clark Kent, become this symbol of hope for the entire world. It's just beautiful.
Stan Lee himself, who was right on the cusp of his greatest creations, was simply in awe. Seeing the Avengers assemble, seeing the interconnected universe he dreamed of become a reality, just left him completely speechless. He was watching his own legacy unfold, a legacy that was bigger than he ever could have possibly imagined.
So Elias secretly recorded all of this, all these incredible, heartfelt, raw reactions. But before he and Nas could head back to their own time, he had one last problem to solve. He had to make absolutely sure that this meeting, this knowledge of the future, stayed a secret to protect the timeline.
And how did he do it? With a little bit of dramatic flair. He gives them this crash course in completely made-up time travel physics. He's throwing around terms like temporal paradox and causal loops. He describes a tsunami of paradoxes and even threatens total universal collapse if they ever breathe a word of it. It was like 95% nonsense, but it was 100% effective.
And now we come full circle. Safely back in his own time, Elias takes that footage he secretly filmed, those raw, beautiful, emotional reactions of these absolute legends, and he uploads it to YouTube. The video that would break the internet was now live.
But why? What was the whole point of all this? Well, Elias's motivation was actually pretty simple. He wanted to give the world a mystery so profound, so awe-inspiring, that it would force everyone to just pause their conflicts, pause their arguments, and just wonder. To unite in a shared feeling of pure astonishment. And really, that's the question this whole story leaves us with. In a world that often feels so divided, it suggests that maybe what we need isn't another argument, but a shared moment of impossibility. A little reminder that the universe is far stranger and way more wonderful than we can even begin to imagine.
Akulah Sri Cempaka Nazirah.
Nas rindu, El.
Diamlah, Mikus.
Diamlah, Mikus. Diamlah, Mikus.